I'm uh, I'm very thrilled that we're able to live stream this morning. We've had some rain. It's cloudy outside, and we are using Starlink. We're not being paid advertisement for Starlink, but I've been extremely, extremely happy with our Starlink. It's actually doing better than a lot of wired internet services. Would you agree?
Yeah, so far it's been really, really good.
Yeah, even this
Surprising.
morning. Yeah, even this morning with it being cloudy and rainy, I was very concerned that our ECAM would come up and would say, "Nope, no deal. You're not able to live stream this morning." And we are. It had full service, and we're still able to go. Now, with that being said, the reason I am bringing it up, it is cloudy, it's rainy outside. There is no guarantee this is going to work. So we do want to make everyone aware if we drop off, that's probably what happened. So,
Yeah.
but I am more than happy with how this system is working right now. So, if you
Yeah.
travel a lot, if you get to places where there's not internet, highly recommend Starlink. So far, it's been very, very, very good for us. So, good morning, Rebecca.
Isn't there a disclaimer that we're supposed to say that these are not paid actors? These
Yeah,
are
these are yeah, we're
actual.
not we're not paid actors. We're not paid advertisements. There's probably a whole lot of them that we're laws that we're breaking right now. But
Yeah. So good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How was your weekend? It was a great weekend.
it was a great weekend. Somebody on this call this morning had a birthday. Shout out
Yes.
to Rebecca. Happy birthday.
Whoop, whoop.
Yep.
Yes, it was a good birthday. Got to spend some time at the lake with the kids and the grandkids, and it was fun. It was
Yep.
fun. I
Went out
enjoyed
on the
it.
paddle boards. Rebecca went out on the paddle boards for the very first time. And she even
Well, we
got
both
to,
did.
well, we both did, yes. And I gotta say, she out paddled me substantially. She did not fall off. She even stood up, full stand up on the paddle boards. Yeah, I tried that and very quickly fell off. If you ever watch paddleboarders and you think it's easy, change your mind. Not easy. That was a challenge.
Well, I think it also has a little something to do with the proportions. I did stand up. It wasn't long. I did stand up 3 times. It wasn't very long either time, but it was good. And I kid you not, my arms hurt yesterday. It was a workout. But
Oh, indeed. Indeed.
yep, like I said, got to see the kids, the grandkids, and spend some time with them, and it was very enjoyable.
Good. Good, good, good.
So,
All right,
all right,
Rebecca,
let's talk about our topic this morning.
what is it?
It is the fear of the unknown and changing that to embracing change, embracing, that what could be.
The uncertainty.
Yeah,
Yeah, embracing uncertainty. That's
it's
hard.
not always in. It is a very hard one because it's uh it's a scary place to be, but something that we have realized we never know what tomorrow's going to bring, and we cannot live every day worried about that.
Is that something you struggle with?
Very much so, because it takes that control out of it. You know, when you're trying to control every day and trying to make sure that everything is done properly and everything is taken care of, and when you have that fear of the unknown, it's because you can't control it. And that is a big thing that I've had to realize is I can't control it. I can't control situations. I can't control other people. I can't control a car accident. There's just there's no control, and you can't live that way every day trying to manipulate things into happening the way that you want them.
Hmm.
Now, you can be aware. You know, you when you're driving, you can't prevent a car accident, but you can be aware of your surroundings and aware of what's going on to uh how should I say, lessen the the blow, or maybe even, well, I guess it could be prevent. If somebody slams on their brakes in front of you, being aware and seeing that, you can veer off. And so I think this the uncertainty in life, not to have a fear of it, but be aware of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I get to rambling, but
So if you're aware of it, what do you do with it?
that's a good question.
Well, that's kind of the idea of our topic this morning is what do we do? What do we do when you have fear of the unknown, fear of uncertainty? I mean, salespeople deal with this all the time, right? We don't like rejection. We don't like the fear of being hurt. And a lot of this, you talked a little bit about the car accident and this and that and the other. There's fears. There's fears that relates to this. But from a psychology standpoint, this is all the same element at the subconscious level, right? That fear doesn't matter where it comes from, whether it's a fear of rejection, it's a fear of climbing a mountain, falling off. It's a fear of jumping out of an airplane. Fear of flying in an airplane. Some people don't have to jump out. They don't like flying, and there's this fear of that unknown. Something could happen, right? And sometimes these fears are very legitimate. We need to have fear. We're created with that inside of us because it is designed to protect us, right? It's designed to trigger something that will protect us. On the other side of the coin, though, when you sense fear, when you sense fear, you have to recognize, is this a life, is this a fear that's going to prevent my death? Is it going to save my life, or is this a fear that I need to address, overcome, because I have a false sense of fear, I have a false reality of a fear? That's one of the things that people have with talking to other people, being on stage, um, making cold calls. These are all fears that trigger the same elements in us subconsciously as, jumping out of an airplane. Those are the same types of things. And it makes us feel very much a similar type way, especially at the subconscious level. And those are things that we have to learn how to overcome if we're going to be successful in life. There's always going to be these uncertainties, they exist constantly, and
Well,
you've got to learn how to get
you
through
know,
those.
you know that when we have fears, they usually go to the negative. What is, and I know fear has that connotation, but it's the fear of failure. It's very rarely the fear of success.
Yeah.
The fear of it, not working instead of the fear of it working. Because they're two completely different fears. The fear of it working starts to go into, if it succeeds, how do I, who am I, and how do I run that? How do I make it work? Your fear of failure, kind of the same thing. So it's it's the way that our fears work, whether we go to the negative or the positive. But
Uh-huh.
you tend to, a lot of, I know, like my fears, a lot of my fears come from things that never happen.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you know 98% of the fears that human beings have, and these are all statistics done by people well beyond me, but they they don't come true. They're 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 unwarranted fears, right? But they're fears that prevent people from doing great things in their life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, embracing uncertainty, it's hard to do. I mean, I will admit here, it's really hard to do here. Um, and I hope you guys can't hear that. I don't know if you can or not,
Yeah, if
but
you're
it is
hearing
absolutely
background noise, it is pouring rain right
pouring,
now.
pouring rain right now. Um, Kind of even wondering if there's a little bit of, no, maybe not. It is, but it is pouring. Anyway, so embracing uncertainty, it's just that not knowing. And that's, where I talked about control and things like that. Um, we can't control the unknown. We can't control the things. It's out of our hands. Just have to. Oh, I think we froze. Oh, hopefully
Yeah.
we can stay on here. It is absolutely pouring out, so we'll see how the Starlink
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
It's telling us it's unstable, so hopefully we don't lose everybody.
Yeah. We'll do our best here, guys. If we drop off, maybe we'll come back on later and Rebecca and I'll record something for you. But yeah, it's definitely
See,
great to
we're
have the
embracing
rain.
uncertainty.
Yeah,
We're
we're
embracing
embracing
uncertainty,
uncertainty.
the possibility of losing internet and
Yeah. Well, we opened with that, remember? So we put
yeah.
that disclaimer out there. Um, here's one. I'm gonna add that to the broadcast. Matt just jumped in and said, "Hey, he's a little jealous of the rain right now. Not their time." Matt, it will be your time for sure. One of these days you will get some rain and get a recharge. So be praying for your part of the world. No, it's uncertainty. Even let's talk about someone like Matt. Matt's a farmer, and every year he
Oh yeah,
plants a seed,
I was
and
just thinking about that.
yeah, you plant a seed every year, and you think about that seed. I mean, we're hoping and praying that that seed comes up, and there's so much uncertainty in agriculture, and even like Matt's hoping and praying for rain, and there's uncertainty that you're going to get rain. So definitely a place of uncertainty in agriculture for sure.
Well, I mean, there's so much. I mean, you could go on for days, the uncertainty in ag, and it's rain, but it's also, weather related. Is it too cold? Does it get too
Oh yeah.
hot? Does it, the tornadoes? Is it hail?
The
There's
choice of
just,
the choice of products. I mean, you buy products
and,
and
and
you're
that
uncertain
is
if they're going to work.
completely out of your hands. You can't do anything about that.
Yep.
And so what are your choices? You either live in constant stress and fear, or it is what it is, and we have to do what we can do. We just do the best that we can.
So
You have to.
that brings me to another question for you, Rebecca. Is it possible in times of uncertainty for both fear and faith to coexist? Can they truly coexist, fear and faith? Or do you have to stifle one and embrace another? That's a good question for you.
Wow, you're gonna make me think deep this morning. Um, I I don't think they can coexist. I think you're either doing one or the other.
Okay. So why not embrace the faith?
Well, that is ultimately what you should do. But as I said, we tend to go to that negative side, and we tend to. I think your what ifs come from. It stems from things that maybe that you've seen in your life, other people's stories of things that have happened. And so you start to correlate that with your situation
Mm-hmm.
and their outcome. And just like I said, instead of thinking this is going to work out and be great. Um, we don't, it's hard to see that. I mean, it's hard to see the sunshine
Hmm.
past all the clouds. So we'll go really deep into some philosophical.
Well, the thing is, you embrace faith without even realizing it. I mean, think about that. Or right now, do you have a fear of getting wet? It's raining, it's pouring water. Do you have a fear of getting wet?
No,
Do you have a fear of being struck by lightning right now?
well, I didn't.
Think about it for a moment. We got, when you embrace the things around you. I'm sitting in a chair right now, and this chair, you don't even think about it. This chair is holding me up, right? I'm putting a lot of stress on this chair. The chair is doing its job. It's holding me up. This live stream that we're doing. There's no reason that I should believe that our face and our voice can go out around the world to thousands of people. We've had, sometimes we get 1,000 plus people that watch one of our videos and, watch one of these events. So it's like, how is that possible that people can see us, hear us, and yet we have total and complete faith in something like this? Yet we fear in other times. We fear on some of the things that are uncertain, unknown, but the things that were unknown to us 50 years ago when we were still children, that it was the same thing, but we
But I
learned.
don't know if
We learned. I
if
mean, think about that. All the things that we have fear of today, how many of them if you were 3 years old 50 years ago, you're 3 years old. By the way, now everybody knows how old she is. We're
yeah,
not afraid.
thanks for
Yeah.
that.
So you're 3 years old. You didn't fear things, not like you do today. You jumped on the couch without fearing of breaking your arm. You did things, right?
Well, that was instilled in us. Be careful, you're going to fall and break your arm. Be careful, you're going to fall and break your arm. Be careful, you're going to burn yourself. Be careful, that gets instilled in us. Um, just like talking about your chair though. Those things, you really don't, I don't think you have faith or fear over that, but I think we take it for granted that it's just going to hold you up. You know, Sitting in this house right now, I don't even think about staying dry because I don't look at, oh, well, what if the water comes through the roof and the roof falls in and those things I think we just take it in stride every day that they're going to do what they're meant to do.
Hmm.
But I think the fear of the unknown is when we step out of that more or less comfort zone, step out of that, taking your chair, it's holding you up. But if you took your chair and put it on the rim of the Grand Canyon and lean back in it, are you still going to have your faith that your chair is going to hold you up?
No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't have anything to do with the fear of the chair. It would
Right.
be it would be me leaning back in the chair doing something with the chair. The chair is no longer the issue. The chair is still capable of holding me up. Now it's my own stupidity that I'm having to deal with. Leaning back in a chair on the rim of the Grand Canyon, that is a choice I have to make that generates fear that really doesn't have anything to do with faith, because at that point in time, I have very, very intense faith on that, gravity is going to continue to work, whether I don't want it to or not. And, that's just, yeah, that's not something I'm going to do. We'll put it that way, right? It just doesn't really make any sense. And it's one of those things that I still have complete faith in the chair to do its part. I don't have faith in my balance. I'll guarantee you that, you know. and that's not something that I would do. So I would stay away from that. But it's again, when we look at the world around us, by default, I mean, think about the things that you used to fear, and today they're just second nature. Driving, people when they drive for the very first time, there's a somewhat of a fear. There's an excitement there, and there's a fear there at the same time. There's, the first time you head out across the country by yourself, you've never been there before, and you take a long distance drive alone by yourself, and there's a fear there. The first time I jumped in a truck and headed out for a 1,500-mile run, I'm 21 years old, and I'm leaving for the very first time, going across 4 different states to get a load of cattle in a place I've never been before, and there was no phone with directions to guide me. We didn't have any of that. I had to use maps and instructions from a phone call. Those were things that created fear, but at the same time, the faith over trumped the fear that I could do it. The faith, the belief that I could do it over trumped any fear I ever had. And
Well, and I think that's something that, because those fears that you had when you first started driving, uh, I don't know, getting a flat tire or running out of gas someplace or whatever your fear was on those first trips, they're still there. I mean, those are still possibilities of happening, but we don't fear them really anymore because, it's gotten to be a habit of driving. Every time you get in the car, just going from here to 6 miles down the road, you don't have that fear of, oh, I'm going to blow a tire or, oh, I'm going to run out of gas.
but a lot of that is
Those,
preparation. You can eliminate those fears just with preparation.
well, understandable, but you had the preparation the first time too. You had a full tank of gas and you made sure the tires were aired up, but you kept thinking about that. But even now, just taking those every time you get into a vehicle, that's not the first thing that crosses your mind. That's not what you think about anymore.
Hmm.
You've now, you get in there thinking, oh man, I'm going to be late. So I'm going to have to drive faster. Your fear is possibly hope I don't get a ticket.
Yeah, you have faith that there's not a cop on the other side of the hill,
You know, but
right?
I think those fears are still there from when you first started driving, but we don't think about them anymore
Yeah.
because you got through it. It happened. So now those fears are things that you don't think about anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's so many different directions we could go on this topic, and I think we need to embrace this topic a little deeper. I would like to talk about preparation in this topic because preparation makes all the difference in the world, in my mind. You can be doing the most fearful thing in the world, but if you're well prepared and you've gone through the process, you're trained, you're ready for it. There's there You can just eliminate so many fears. There's also times when you do something different, you create fears that don't even exist in reality, but we create them by life experiences, something that's happened to us in the past, or maybe we read something, or God forbid, you saw something on a social media post, and now, oh my goodness, it's not even real. It was made by AI, but now we have a fear of it, right? And we create fears that are so ridiculous anymore. And how do we address that? How do we truly, truly, truly to have success in our life, take what is in front of us, experiences and everything else, and build faith out of it. Build faith from it, not fear. And embrace the faith, because that's the element that's going to move you forward.
Well, and I think the biggest thing it comes back to is, and I mentioned it earlier, is that control. We can't control. We can control us and what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We can't control any outside factors. So every day, every day is who knows what's going to happen. And you can, the preparation is good, but you can be absolutely prepared for everything, and it still could or could not happen.
It's fail forward. That's fail forward.
Yeah.
And that's
So,
John Maxwell's part of it. And that's just like Matt said in his post is, control it, you analyze it quickly. Is it something that you can control? If not, get ready for it, be ready for it. Outcome doesn't matter what it is, but you're going to move forward. Just don't put the energy, like Matt said. I think that's a great way of saying it. Don't put your energy towards something bad. Stay away from that, because the law of attraction is at work all the time, whether you realize it or not. Even if you don't believe in the law of attraction, it's working around you
yeah.
constantly. And that's part of what you're up against. Now, that's another discussion. How about the law of attraction in a team? In a team environment, the law of attraction, that's an interesting discussion. We should break that open one of these days. Anyway, any comments from our Zoom audience? Our Zoom audience is a little small. We got some travelers today, but anybody on Zoom? David's with us. David, you want to jump in and pipe up on this topic anywhere? It's like he's still muted. So.
Just reaching for my controls here.
Yeah.
Unmute.
There you go.
Yeah, dealing with uncertainty. I guess I've always spent my whole working career working for small companies and startups, and there's never any certainty. And so some people can handle that, some people can't. I guess I just worry about the things I can control and don't worry about the things I can't control. And, yeah, it is certainly compared to working for a big company, which I haven't really done. I've done some contract stuff, from time to time, and but yeah, it's something I live with, but it's not something I worry about. And it's maybe I should, but it's just something I guess I've got used to. And probably a little bit like farming. Nothing's ever guaranteed, and you're probably only one crop away from success or failure, depending on what happens. But you try and make your own luck, and by being prepared and I will tell you one thing, and this is only relates to me, but my being Australian, I've worked in this country on a visa for a very long time. That brought more fear of the unknown than anything, because at any time the visa could be revoked or not renewed. It was every 2 years. I lived my life in 2-year cycles, and that was more stressful than anything. Not so much work, just about the ability to work and what happens if it doesn't get renewed. And that's a real fear, but thankfully now I don't have to deal with that anymore. For better or for worse, the US government has allowed me to stay and work for indefinitely. So,
welcome to America.
But it takes a lot of stress off. I mean, that's probably the thing I stressed over most, actually, was you think about it. You could have a whole life here, own a home, do all this stuff, and then suddenly somebody says, "Oh, sorry, your visa's revoked," and you're actually out of the country having to do that, and you think, "Well, man, I've got a dog, I've got all these things back home that, what do I do?" And that there's a lot of people that live like that that you're probably not aware of, but there's that was real anxiety. And yeah, not so much anymore. I actually had to change jobs in a hurry, and you had 60 days to find another job or leave the country. And I didn't realize that. I'd been kind of going along with fat, dumb, and happy, and when that hit me, that was I felt stress and anxiety like I'd never felt before, because
Yeah.
of just physical manifestations of it, like neck pain, headaches, things like that, real stress. And thankfully, other stresses don't have to, well, don't. I haven't felt that anxiety since, thankfully.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's some real stuff. The crazy part is, as human beings, we do worry about those things. And the thing that we don't even understand is the worry doesn't help us, right? It doesn't move us in the direction we need to move. And you're right, David. If I was in your shoes, I would do exactly the same thing. And it would be anxiousness. It would be, you know, some of the fears of those unknowns for sure. Um,
In work,
but
you've got a level of control on how hard you work, on how smart you
yeah,
work, on all of that. But when it's something that's completely out of your control, you can't influence that one way or
yeah,
another.
yeah, yeah. That's an interesting. That's another good discussion. Another good topic. We ought to open up one of these days. Is when you're up against things that are completely out of your control. What do you do? I mean, that's a serious level type topic. I mean, you're building your whole career here in a country you may not be able to stay in. What do you do with that? That is a that's a whole nother discussion and a good one.
Hmm.
There are a lot of people that face those types of things. So, well, Rebecca, we're up at the top of the hour here, and
Yep.
anything you want to say as we start to close this out?
Nope. Just like Matt added, you analyze it. Remember your truths. Remember your truths. Don't weigh on the fear. Just
Mhm. Now, last week, one of the things I'll bring up to the audience here. Last week, I had Rebecca listen to a video. Uh, it was with Wayne Dyer. If any of you are familiar with Wayne Dyer, he is now passed on, and he's one unbelievable trainer, speaker in this industry of personal growth and development. And it was one of those things that you know Wayne brought 10 principles, 10 life principles to the table. And some of those principles are pretty hard to swallow. What do you say, Rebecca? We go through those 10 principles one of these days, and maybe take
well, that'd be good.
three or four of them, and really dive into them over our Monday mind shift.
I think that would be good because they're very good.
Yeah, very good,
Some
very
of them,
hard.
I had some questions on, but they are hard, but they are good to go through.
Yeah,
So yeah, we could probably start that next week. Go through, like you said, a couple of them at a
yep,
time,
yeah.
and
Okay,
yeah.
sounds good. Well,
So
one last
everybody,
thing, we do have a sales training event coming up. We've got one coming up here at the end of August. Would love to have you guys attend. I know there's a couple on here that are going to be joining us for sure. Would love to have you guys at that. We're going to be in Kearney, Nebraska, the 27th and 28th,
yep.
right? And Rebecca has a huge discount, like a 53% discount right now going on, and it's a huge opportunity to join that training and be a part of this with us. So tell
Yep.
your colleagues, let people know, reach out to us directly on Facebook. We're going to be reaching out to a lot of you directly, and great opportunity to come together for networking and to really dive into about four very key components of the sales process and the leadership elements in selling. And we're going to address those very, very clearly. So we're going to have some fun with that. All right, my friends, we'll see you here next week with a little bit different topic, some of Wayne Dyer's content.
Yep.
So, all
All
right.
right.
Thanks, everybody. Make
Have
it
a great
awesome.
week.